Today's guest is Jonathan, a qualified horticulturist who joined Gardenlust in 2021. He moved from France to Australia, faced visa challenges, earned his qualification here, and worked his way up from laborer to manager in just a few years. Today, he will share with us his childhood, his journey to Australia, the obstacles he faced along the way, and how he became a key member of the Gardenlust team. Hi, Jonathan, and thank you for joining me on this podcast.
Hi, Axel. Thank you for inviting me.
So I would like to start this podcast with the same question as I ask everyone: is what were you like growing up?
I was a really shy kid. I grew up in a small town in rural southwest of France called Fonrock, where there is 200 people. And I were not really interested about being outside at that time. I think my main activity was to play video games on my own.
What was your life like with were you living with your parents? Were you in whereabout in France is it located? Firstly,
So it is located in the southwest of France.
yeah.
My dad passed away when my mom was pregnant, so I was living alone with my mom. She was working a lot, so I didn't spend a lot of time with her. That's why I tried to entertain myself with video games at that time. However, I really liked the fact to live in rural places because I could go outside and I was really free. I could do whatever I wanted to do outside. Everybody trust me as long as I was coming back before the dawn.
Okay. Wow. And so, but you were just it was up to you to do whatever you wanted to do. It's
Yes, correct.
So what was your work hours for your mom? It was 6 a.m. to...
She had different shifts, but it was 6 p.m. to usually 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. So most of the time I was either by myself or at my grandmother's place.
Okay. So that must have been very difficult for your mom to find out about your dad or to raise you by yourself.
It was, and financially it was really hard as well, especially at the beginning because she was on her own. But then she met my stepfather when I was 9 years old, and so everything became a bit more easier.
Okay, wow. And did you have any siblings? Do you have any siblings?
No, I'm only child.
You're only child, okay. So do you think you have received all the attention at that moment? There is always that story about the middle child, the only child. Do you think you were the, how do we say it? The main character for your mom was?
I was the king.
Yeah.
I was the king. I could do everything I wanted. I was one of those very hard to raise kid. And I think it was really hard at that time. I tried to apologize a couple of times to my mom, but she did really well.
That's good. That's good. I'm sure she must be very proud of you now. And but what were the life looking there? Because 200 people in a village, you must know everyone.
Yes.
Or everyone know you as well, no?
Everybody knew each other. Where I'm from, everybody say hi in the street when they see you.
Okay.
And everybody is invited to anyone's birthday. So that's why I think I was free to go when I was in a young age, because my family was not really worried about it.
Great. And did you have any uncles or anything around you, or auntie?
Yes, we were always really close with my family. So every time there is always a birthday, or we always had an uncle passing by to drink a coffee. So that was really nice.
Just a coffee? Because in the south of France, we like a good wine and some baguette and butter.
Look, everything comes along.
Yeah, okay.
But I think I would say in the morning it's more coffee, and in the afternoon or evening the beverages are a bit different.
Okay, the apéro, as we say.
The apéro, yes.
Okay. That's great. And did you live anywhere else in France, or were you only in that area?
At that time, I lived only in this area.
Okay.
I think we moved houses within 10 kilometers.
Okay. And you were going to school in the village? Everything was done in the village?
Yes, everything was connected in a village. And I remember I could call my family when we sent the ball away from the college. So that was really great. Like it was.
What do you mean when you play soccer?
Yes, when we are playing soccer, if we throw the ball outside of the college fence, then yeah, I could call my grandmother or my auntie, and someone was around to give us back the ball.
Really?
So at that time, I was quite
Wow. So it must have been like very well, hopefully one day I can visit the village.
hopefully.
And then you became a teenager, and what was the life when you were a teenager? Were you a little bit more adventurous, trying to leave the village, or did you stay also in that village?
I think so. Where I'm from, all the teenagers got scooters or motorbike, and I had a small motorbike. When I was teenager, I think I did all the mistakes that a teenager can do. Um Good thing and bad things. And I remember at that time I already needed some money to put some fuel in my motorbike. So from young age, I think I started to work around 13 years old.
Yeah.
I started to work with my uncle at that time. And so like from this moment until now, I always work during the weekends.
Wow. So we're gonna get into that very soon. But what do you mean good and bad things? What does that mean?
I would say legal and illegal things.
Okay.
I remember crashing my bike a couple of times,
Yeah.
going out late, not necessarily letting my moms know that I was going out, all this kind of thing. I haven't do really like um, bad things,
Hmm.
but I had a really nice teenage time.
That's great. So like you mean you done everything like petty crimes that where you start like smoking your first cigarette and
Exactly.
okay. Um did she know that you crashed the bike a few times?
She knows about one time. She probably doesn't know about the others.
And what happened to the other ones? Your uncle helped you? Or
Usually I knew who I was crashing into,
yeah.
so there was always a way to avoid.
I guess if there is only like 200 people in a village, you always know to.
Correct.
Um. So, and what was your first job? Because, like, what were the opportunities, and how did you end up working? I guess there is a lot of field around the village. There is a like shopping center, restaurant. What was your first job?
So in France, before 16, I think it's quite illegal to work. So you have to work on cash in hand. Usually people work with their family or with the local farmer and work depending on the season. I was kind of lucky. No, I was lucky and I was not kind of lucky. One of my uncle was taking care of a vineyard. So when I turned 13, 14, he offered me to come to help him. And I had a really good moment with him working.
So what? So wait. What does that mean exactly? Were you working? You were making the wine, or were you picking up the grapes? What was your job in that?
So the job was the maintenance of the vineyard. So all the trimming, all the pest control, um, and implementing new vineyards.
Okay. So you were already like in touch with nature
I was.
and plants at that time. That's so interesting. And this is very common in France. We do there's like seasonal we hire people to pick up the grapes when the wine, like to make the wine in the future. Is that correct?
Yes, we use a lot of seasonal workers. And I never really work with seasonal workers because usually it's people from south of Europe or east of Europe. In my case, we were only 2 people taking care of the vineyard.
Okay. So it was like a small vineyard.
It was.
And it was you, someone else, and working for your uncle.
Correct.
Okay.
And I think I acquired really core values at that time. Like my uncle was always honest with me. I remember at that time, even if I was 14 years old, I was making the same amount of money as him. So like it teach me how people can be fair as well.
Wow. This is more than fair. If he was paying you as much as he was paying himself, it was like, Wow, and that was your first job, and you were only like 13, 14.
Correct.
That's very brave of you to.
Yes, and it was really good because most of my friends were not working at that time. But my mom always told me that I could do anything I want with my money. So at that time, I could buy all the alcohol I wanted and all the tobacco I wanted.
So, like at 13, 14, you were drinking and smoking already?
I'm not the best example.
I guess, like, well, I think I tried, I started drinking at maybe 17 or 18. But wow. Well, you didn't go to work drunk, right?
No, 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 no.
Not for you. Well, and so what was, can you share with us the salary?
At that time, I was making €9 per hour, which is like $18 per hour, and 18. And at that time, I think it was like the average salary.
Okay. And how many hours were you working?
So we were working between 8 and 10 hours during the Saturday, and during public holidays or school holidays, we were doing the same, but Monday to Saturday.
Okay. So you were only working during the weekends.
Correct.
So it was not like a full-time job Monday to Friday.
No, I couldn't because I was still going to school at that time. And it was really important for my uncle that I stay at school.
Okay. And does your uncle still own the vineyard?
No, he retired.
Okay. So what happened? That was your first job, and tell me what was the next step after? Because as soon as we start earning money, we want to work more, or we want to get our first place, or we want to start traveling. What after the vineyard? What happened? Where did you end up?
Actually, at that time, after working, I thought I didn't want to work outside anymore, so I really focused on my studies. I went to law school after high school, and I dropped it after 2 months because I realized actually university was not for me. So I wanted to become a social worker at that time. So I remember coming to the test naked, without any knowledge, without any practice, and I was refused. I know it's kind of normal, I think. So I went to work again because my mom at that time didn't want me to stay at home doing nothing. And I'm kind of lucky because I had another uncle working as a mechanical fitter. We were building any type of ventilation in the companies. So I started to work with him. And at that time, I think I had a really good salary because I was making around €2,000 per month, which is like a really good salary for an 18 years old person.
Okay, so you moved from like working in a vineyard, trying to get into the law school, leaving the law school, then working for your second uncle.
Correct.
So you were lucky to have a big family, and
Correct.
But so what made you leave the law school? It was like too academic, it was too admin heavy. What was
I think I was a bit too free of my free time, and it was really hard for me to study outside of the school.
Okay. So what do you mean study outside? You mean like the workload in terms of studying after
Yes,
the classes? It was like too.
that was too much.
Okay. And what did you have to do to become a social worker? Because you did show up at the test, but you were not prepared. So what was the reason of you not being prepared? Or
I didn't really think at that time. I think I thought the test will be easier and I could like acquire knowledge once I'm in the school and not before.
okay. But what made you want to become a social worker?
Um, I think I always had this idea in my mind. I really want to help people who needed some help.
Okay. And you end up working with your uncle, and what was your task at that moment? Were you getting paid as was the pay as good as with the first uncle?
No, it was better.
Oh, it was better.
It was better because
Wow.
it was a full-time position.
Okay, so you were working Monday to Friday.
Actually, I was working Saturday to Sunday. Sorry, Sunday to Saturday. We were leaving on the Sunday evening, and we were coming back on the Saturday morning.
So it was. What do you mean leaving? Is like it was not in a village. It was in. You had to travel.
No, we had to travel away, and I think the closest site was 4 hours away from home, and the further was 10 hours.
So you walked everywhere in France, pretty much.
Yes, I did.
Because 10 hours, like the length of France, is like maybe max 12 hours from the north to Spain. Huh?
Yes, I think I went from Marseille to Strasbourg.
Oh wow, that's quite a long drive.
And I think it was really interesting for a young adult to actually travel that far, especially for someone like me who stayed in the same village all his life.
I agree. I think that's so. I remember every summer we were traveling with my family from Paris to the south of Spain, and going through France. When you are young, you have so much. You can explore so much, and like you're not aware that there's so many different people, places, food. Yeah. Wow. And where was the work very labor intensive, or was more technical? Did you bring your expertise, or were you there just to do manual labor?
I was there to do a lot of manual labor. I think everybody had kind of the same tasks. We were working in pair with a team leader who had knowledge and experience, and a trade assistant, as I was. And we were working a lot. We were working 10 to 12 hours a day. Usually, we wanted to come back home quite early because everybody had family. So the workload at that time was really intense.
So you were driving through the night on a Sunday night, starting the work on Monday morning, having to work 10, 11 hours a day, and then leaving the site on a Friday.
Correct.
And trying to get to your family.
Correct.
Wow. Okay.
I remember at that time, most of my friends were studying in university. And when I was coming on the Friday evening to the parties, everybody was still very awake. And usually at that time, after one beer, I was going to bed.
Wow. And so your friend had they could enjoy their life, but you were already working quite hard.
Correct.
Is there a reason of why you were working so hard at this age? Were you trying to help your mom? Were you trying to make a living? Were you trying to grow your career in your uncle's business? What was
a mix of everything. I always wanted to have more responsibility and like working on my own, but I also wanted to help my mother. And at that time, I was actually making more money than her, so we spoke about it, and I was paying some part of the rent at that time. So I was really happy to do it.
I'm sure she appreciates you helping her with the rent.
I hope so.
And what happened after that job? What did you? How many years did you work, and did you stay in that company?
So during this time, I still wanted to become a social worker. So I think I failed the test twice, and after the second fail, I wanted to commit myself to become a social worker. So at that time, I quit my company, and I joined a small charity company, and I was helping disabled people. After working with this company for 1 year, then I passed the test and I succeeded.
Great. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So can you tell us, like, actually what is a social worker exactly? Is it because it might be slightly different from social worker here. So can you tell us a little bit more about it?
So basically, we help all kind of public, from mentally disabled to physically disabled, and different type of ages. So the studies in France is 2 years, and on that job, the main task was actually to live with them and to create an environment, like a familiar environment for them.
So you So you worked for the charity, you passed the test, and then you lived in facilities with them.
Correct.
Oh, wow. Wow. And how was that? Was it difficult? Because I guess you were maybe used to not sleeping at home based on your previous job.
Yes.
But then now you have to live with your patient. Can we call them patients?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think it's also like a very different environment. Like I was coming from a tradies environment to a social environment, and it's two different types of employees. And I think my biggest difficulty at that time was to work and study at the same time.
Okay. And for how many years did you have to live on site, or did you have to work as a social worker?
So I worked in this company for 3 years, but during the study, you don't need to work basically.
Okay. So then once you pass the test was just to be accepted in a school, and
Correct.
then you can start studying.
Correct.
But during the time you were studying, you were back at your mom, or did you have your?
I had my own apartment at that
Okay.
time.
And how you were paying this rent through the work on
Correct.
weekends? And what was your mom was still working and living with your stepfather?
Yes, he was.
Okay. What was it far from each other?
No, obviously the school was around my village. So I was living 20 kilometers away.
Okay, that's
So-
not bad. 20 kilometers for Sydney, it can be quite far.
Yeah.
But like in a village, it's one straight, and that's it.
I remember because at that time my apartment was too small for a washing machine.
Yeah,
So every weekend I had to go back to my mom's place to do my laundry.
that's good. It's very helpful. You can say thank you to your mom.
Thank you.
Okay, let's move now to the exciting part of what brought you here to Australia. How did you end up from social worker to being here in Australia?
I think after a while I started to get bored, and I was a bit tired of taking care or to help other people, so I wanted to focus a bit on myself. I wanted to travel after living, in rural places, starting to discover France and a bit of Europe with my friends. I wanted to do something that no one did in my family, and I wanted to travel. It was actually the first time for me to take the plane, so I wanted to train my English. And at that time, I knew only 2 or 3 places to do it. I didn't want to go to England because I was a bit too cold and a bit too close to France. So I decided to come to Australia.
So wait, you took your first plane. It was that flight from France to Australia, 24 hours.
Correct.
That was your first time going into a plane.
That was my first time.
That was like, how did you like the flight? Because it can be very exhausting, but if it was your first time, you must have been very, very, very excited.
I think the funny part was the booking part.
Yeah.
Because no one around me did it before, and that was a bit stressful. I didn't know where I was going, and I remember landing in Kuala Lumpur at that time, and just didn't know where to go.
So you went through Kuala Lumpur, and then Kuala Lumpur, Sydney, or did you arrive in a different city?
No, actually, I arrived in Adelaide.
Oh, I arrived in Adelaide too.
Really?
What time? At what time?
It was during winter.
But
I think March.
But it was like at night or during the day?
It was at 6 p.m.
Okay.
I remember because I booked the Airbnb at that time for like 9 p.m. and those 3 hours were really long. And I thought Australia was always very hot, so I arrived only with a short and a shirt, and I didn't have a suitcase, so I just took a backpack. And I remember I had only 6 kilos of clothes at that time. I basically had 2 shorts and 3 socks, and it was really cold.
So you had only 6 kilos. This is like I'm sure most of people carry more than 6 kilos on just going to Melbourne. And so you arrive at 6 p.m., you were waiting for a few hours, and you were able to book the Airbnb.
Yes.
I arrived in Adelaide in the middle of the night, and the lady at the airport say, I could not speak English, so I was a little bit confused. But she said, like, where are you staying? And I was like, I'm going to Sydney. She said, no, the airport is closing. I was surprised because in Paris, the airport is open 24/7. So I walked from the airport to the beach, hoping that I will find like restaurant and bars. And I walk from like Adelaide airport to the beach on that long road. I think it's 3.5K. And it was completely dark. No one was there. It was like, I just walked back to the airport. I slept on the the fake grass and at the terrace at the front, and the airport opened at 5, and I had my flight to Sydney. But so, did you speak English when you were in Adelaide?
No, really badly. I learned like basic English at school, and I was watching some movies with subtitles, but that was it at that time.
Okay. And
That was
tell me after what's happened after. How well, I'm gonna go with the question: how did you end up in landscaping? Because I'm sure you're gonna have so much to tell us from Adelaide to the landscaping part.
So when I landed in Adelaide, I didn't want to be in big cities. I wanted to travel Australia. So I quickly bought a 4-wheel drive and I started my trip to Australia. When I was looking for jobs I was just taking the biggest offer, and I just didn't want to be in big cities. So I traveled from Adelaide to Cairns, and then COVID happened. I remember booking my plane ticket to France, and I was speaking with my mom, and she was telling me like all the restrictions we have in France at that time.
Yep.
So I decided to stay in Sydney. I started to work as a dishwasher in a small restaurant. I remember I had like $50 on my pocket. So I worked in the restaurant for like 3 weeks, and then I saw a post on Facebook about a company looking for free laborers for the next day. It was you who posted this post on Facebook, and so I joined the team for 1 day. And I remember during the job, you took me apart and you asked me if I was fancying a job. And we agreed on a salary, and we started to work together for 3 weeks. I was working in the restaurant and for the business at that time. But I had to choose. It was too tiring, and I decided to choose gardening.
I remember that day very, very well. Yes, you are right. I did put a post on Facebook. It was on a French Facebook page.
Yes, it was.
And that job was like, we were supposed to bring, I don't know, over 75 bags of soil, 34 pots, some 150 liters palm trees. It was a very, very challenging job, and the lift was out of service. But on the day where you arrived, we were lucky enough that the lift was working. However, we still had to climb like to the last staircase, yeah. And we were bringing all the bags, and I remember seeing you just grabbing the bags by 2 feet, just going up and down. And I was like, wow, this guy is a machine. Like how I must keep him. And we had that discussion. I remember we were discussing like back in the day, it was like $27 per hour. It was very good. It was like, now it's crazy. The cost of labor went up. But yeah, it was Gardenlust 2021, and it was just myself, one full-time employee, and then you become the second employee of the company. We then had some very interesting job after this one. Tell us what happened, because I know the story, but I would like, I'm sure some people watching this video or podcast will love to understand how the step you took after this job?
So when I was employed as an outsider, I was working with a team leader, Blake, and it was really fun at that time because I didn't have any responsibilities. So I started to work. I had like my full day job. But after 1 year in the company, and I think I had a really bad summer, it was raining a lot. I just didn't want to continue anymore. That was it for me. And I wanted to travel again. So I took a break and I went to New Caledonia, I went back to Queensland, traveled a bit, came back to France. And I remember you contact me again saying that there was a team leader position. So I responded positively. And so I started to work as a team leader. My visa was ending. I think at that time I had like only 2 months left on my working holiday visa, and I wanted more knowledge. So we started to contact some migration agent. I had to go to TAFE, and my journey at TAFE started at that time. It was really complicated because I had to work full time and going to the school as well on full time basic.
So like you moved very quickly, but yes, you moved very quickly through the story. But we yeah, you worked quite hard for a year. Then you were not sure, and your visa was a working holiday visa,
Yes. At-
and it was during COVID, so it was also like we walked in gardens together with a mask on
I
a
think
few
for
times.
1 or 2 weeks, yes.
Yes, it was ridiculous. We had to wear mask in gardens where like we were not even next to each other. That was crazy. Um, but then yeah, I remember I offer you. We had that conversation in Potts Point on a footpath. I saw you, and I was like, "What are you plan?" And then you end up coming back. But we did face a lot of challenges in terms of visa, trying to understand how to keep you here in a company and in Australia. And the migration agent helped you and the company to figure out the best solution. But you had to get your qualification.
Yes.
And as you say, you were working only 3 days a week, had to go to school the rest, but the numbers of hours you placed, you worked for the company even after was like you were fully committed to stay, and you were doing your best to get the visa at the end and your qualification too.
Yes.
So what was your qualification?
I have a cert 3 in horticulture.
And it took you only 1 year?
Yes, on full time. So I was going to TAFE 2 days a week. But I think the hardest part of that time was not really my trade, but to be able to stay, I had also to apply to other schools. So I had to apply to, I think, 2 English schools at the time, and that was really expensive.
You had to try to maintain your visa, or it was
Correct.
And how did you finance the school? How much was the certificate? I'm asking because maybe there's other people who maybe want to have the same path as yours and would love to. Can you tell us how much was it?
I think the price are a bit different now, but I paid $15,000 for the TAFE certification, and the others visas, I think I paid eight to $10,000. So at that time, that was really hard for me to get all this money. So I had to ask some friends to help me,
Okay. And then
and then they helped me, and I had to give back the money, obviously. And once everything was set up, and when we were applying for the sponsorship, the government wasn't sure if the occupation will stay on the list of sponsorship visa. So I remember really well spending a Christmas not knowing if I could come back to work on the next morning.
Oh wow, okay. I don't remember this part so much, but yeah, I remember we had that conversation it was in Waunga. We're sitting at a cafe trying to figure out the finance part for your job, and then we help you to get that money back by working for the company for a few years. And so that's very interesting. So the visa was. Did you feel threatened that the visa might be ending before?
Yes.
And was it stressful?
It was really stressful.
And how did you manage that stress at that? What was the solution behind? Were you focusing on work? Were you just all over the place?
I think I just commit 200% to it, and you need to know what you can change and what you can't. So from the moment I did everything I could, the rest will follow.
Yeah, it was out of your control, right?
Correct.
Yeah, you got your qualification, you got the right visa, you have paid for everything you needed to pay, and you were just waiting for then having the job on the list again, or?
No, I was just waiting to have the requirement. So to apply for a sponsorship visa, you need to show 3 years of full time. And at that time, I think I was missing like 3 weeks.
I remember that. That was just like 1 or 2 years. It was nearly 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
Yeah. So you got your qualification. It was only missing a couple of weeks. And of course, it's the government. You must have to do what they are asking you to do. So,
right. But yes, I had done everything. So I paid the lawyers, complete the English test, had the certification, and we were just like worried about 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah. At the end,
it went well.
You're still here legally. So everything went well. That's great. Now it was very challenging. From my personal experience, the visa situation can take a lot of mental space, financial difficulties. So I'm sure we can understand each other on that level. And what happened, because you were like a laborer, moved to offsider, you got your qualification, and then you came back at Gardenlust, you were a team leader, so now you qualified, you've been working at Gardenlust for a few years, for nearly 5 years technically, and you got your qualification. So where are you at the moment in the company? And
so I just wanted to have more responsibilities. I started to know all the jobs, all the clients, but I wanted to know more. I wanted to know a bit more on the business plan, know how we can grow. And I think that time I realized I really wanted the company to grow and to grow with the company.
That's great. I'm sure you did a good job, because we can show that the company is succeeding at the moment. And okay, can you share with us, like, what was the main challenge you faced? Is there a story where it was very challenging for you, an experience?
So when I started my job as a manager, I remember, I think one of my first really tasks was to install a really big palm tree in one of our VIP's clients in Bronte. So we went there the day before, and we started to dig. I think the hole was like 1 meter wide by 1 meter, so that was pretty big hole. Obviously, we hit a pipe. I remember calling you at that time, really stressed, saying that I was hitting a pipe, that I couldn't do it. And I remember you told me, I trust you. I think that's pretty much it. And so at that time, I think I can say now that I was hating you. But I figured it out. I called a couple of companies and I fixed the pipe, so everything went well. Now the next day, we had the supplier coming with the trees. We had the crane, we had the traffic controller to block the street, and the entire staff, the entire company was on site, you included.
Yes, I
And
was.
I remember checking the trees with you, and the team leader came to me laughing with a big laugh, saying that he hit another pipe. Um, I think at that time I was really stressed. I don't think I answered the best way possible. I just sent him somewhere else in the garden so like I can focus a bit. Uh, at that time, you helped me a bit finding a solution. We fixed it, and we ended up installing the tree.
So it was not just one tree; it was 3 massive palm trees.
Yes.
It's like they were like 15, 20 meters tall, in Bronte, in some very, very narrow streets. And we had to, so we had a crane. The cost of the crane is quite expensive. It's like maybe above $10,000 just to close the street. Once we saw the leak, we have to make a very quick, we have a move. We had to, I think you went quickly to Bunnings and got some stuff to fix it.
Yes, I think I went to Ruiz at that time. Like
Oh, it was Ruiz?
Yes,
Okay.
it was like a plumbing place. Oh, and I remember that was also the client with all the kids watching us.
Yes.
Had a bit of stress.
Yes, she was on the balcony looking over us. But at the end, like the trees have been planted, they look great, they're still there. There's no leak, hopefully. And can you share with us maybe a funny story or something you have?
I have one story. I was an outsider. I think I worked in the company for maybe 1 month or two, and my tasks at the start were really simple. It was mowing the lawn, removing the weeds, and picking up like broken branches. And I remember I went on site with Blake, the team leader, and he started to speak with the client, asking if there was any specific requests. So I started to do my simple tasks because they didn't need me to talk really. And I remember one sentence from the client saying, "No, I don't have any specific requests." And only we picked up 2 frangipani branches from my scissor place, and we would like you to install them. And I remember when he said frangipani, I actually broke the branch of frangipani thinking it was a waste. And when he said the word frangipani, I just like pulled it back, a bit like a cartoon.
Yeah.
And he looked at me and he was really not happy. And at that time, I was not happy neither of myself. But at the end, we offer them a frangipani, and now I can laugh about it.
Yeah, we lost that client. So. We lost it, but yeah, I remember. But
because of that,
it happened to everyone. I was in the garden and my first year in Australia, so like 12 years ago, and I didn't speak English, and the client was saying, "Oh, be careful! There's like a new shrub in the garden," and I was just stepping on it. I was like, "Oh my god, what I have done!" But yes, the frangipani. I can picture you like putting that frangipani back.
I was really stressed after that, and I remember asking my team leader every time I was picking up weeds, like, "Is it a weed or is it a good plant? Is it a weed or is it a good plant?"
Oh, this is why you got your qualification now. You can. Wow. And was it stressful, or at the end you say now you laugh about it? But I'm sure we take things very personally when clients complain and
Correct, and we learn from it.
Yeah,
we learn from it.
of course. What will be the main tip or suggestion you could make to someone who would love to start in at Gardenlust or in the landscaping industry?
I would say go for it. If you don't have any knowledge, or if you are not 100% passionate about gardening, you can always contact a company and ask for an entry-level position just to see if it's your thing. And if it is your thing, I will recommend to commit yourself and go 120% of it. And you can go to school, you can study on the side, and yeah, basically just go for it.
So you say, like, if you don't really know what to do, just start. And then if you like it, just get your qualification, work hard, and grow.
Yes, basically I think for all entry level positions, so laborers or offsiders, you can learn a lot on site. When it comes to positions with responsibilities, then you're gonna need to acquire knowledge. And I think in France we have a sentence. It's called savoir-faire. It means know how, and gardening is one of those positions, one of those jobs where you need to know how. And basically, to know how to do, you need to do.
Yep. Practice makes perfect.
Correct.
Cool. Well, thank you, Jonathan, for being with me on this podcast. We have been working together for 5 years. We have worked very, very hard on site and outside of the site as well. You know, all our clients really appreciate your work. You have been a key member of the company. We keep growing together, and I'm sure we're gonna do a great business together.
I'm
Thank
sure
you
we
so
will.
much.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.